So looking at you all people now, you know international conferences are hard work. So whenever you see your president or your HE coming back from an international conference, you know they haven't been to a party. No, it's really hard work. No, you didn't. You're speaking always that way. You didn't, huh? Did you? So, indeed, this conference is a success, and you applaud it for that because it is. And the question is, what is behind that success? The answer behind it is you wanted to organize it. You wanted to organize this. You took the initiative, and by taking the initiative, you got the energy, and the energy is flowing into this in this conference and flowing into the organization. That's what we feel. That's what we feel all couple of days and today. So I want to again thank you very much for that and give the applause to the Israeli and EuroSAI for organizing this and bringing over this energy to us. So this conference started with facts and figures, and I like that. I like it especially when I saw that the average age of you working in your organization is 3.5 years. For me, it's 2.5. So that means I'm kind of a member of young EuroSAI, you know. And I'm even less experienced than you, so I must have better ideas. Or not? No, let's go into that. The first YES conference in 2013 formulated 9 major challenges, and these major challenges vary from effective communication, knowledge sharing, and independence to achieving through impact with our work and the growth data. And to my great surprise, according to your colleagues in 2013, one of the main challenges in your work was dealing with the fact that you have to function in a zero-error culture. There is no room for mistakes. That was my surprise. And we have to think about it. How strange, because how are you going to improve if you're not allowed to make mistakes, to start new things? If you want to learn and to improve, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to challenge existing ideas, and you need to push yourself further than you have been before. And especially as a worker, you need to have the trust from your superior and the room to make mistakes. So as Supreme Audit Institution, we still have room to improve ourselves, both in organizational development in terms of sharing and develop knowledge with each other. So let's make a promise to each other. Let's go back home and make mistakes. Let's try new things. Yesterday we heard about networking, we heard about red ones and purple ones. Apparently I'm a purple one, being Generation X, the lost generation. And one big opportunity to grow your professional, personal and strategic network is using using the knowledge you heard yesterday. And that includes me and the other attending, the heads of SAI. And I hope you also have this opportunity to influence the brokers in your SAI, in your organization. Indeed, we all are brokers now from the day on. And maybe as organizations, knowledge organization, the culture of organization should change a little bit as well. It's not all about people, it's about the culture of the organization. So maybe to be more effective in the future and to go for those 9 major challenges, we as an organization should be have a little bit of the broker itself in our organization as well, in our organizational culture. That will be a task. Not only be a knowledge organization, but be something of a broker organization as well and organize that. That will be something I'll take home to the Netherlands. Secondly, if we go forward with YES and the YES community, and we heard the presentations yesterday, I was very much inspired by that. But at the same time, it's also about how we organize things, how we audit, and how we do it. But for us, inspiration is also what should we do? What is the content of working together? What is the content of our work tomorrow? And I would like to put forward 3 major challenges. And I would ask you to think about it within your young EuroSAI community and maybe bring it forward to a next young EuroSAI gathering. Let's call it that. I don't know where it's going to be, but let's think about the challenges to it. The first question I ask myself is, do you really have a lack of trust in corporations and governments? Is that really so? Or is it something else? I don't think so. I think you may have other expectations from them, other expectations, expecting that corporations should be about more than just profits. They have a responsibility as well. They have a responsibility to produce their products in a sustainable way, to take into account the real costs of what they produce. So now there's a major challenge. What is the real cost? We in the Netherlands try to think about a new theme, which we call true price or true value. What is the complete value? What's the complete cost of something that is produced? And we had something from a corporation in the Netherlands, and they calculated the true price of a rose that is produced in Ethiopia. And it's not the price what you see in the market. No, there's something else. There's environmental issues, there's labor market issues, there's issues of going back and forward with the airplane. And they have developed a way to calculate the true price of that rose. And what they want is that when you ever go to the market to buy a rose, you not only see what you have to pay, what it really costs. And make you as a consumer more aware of what's behind and above the true of the cost of producing a rose. Well, that could be something for us size as well. What is the true price of the product of the government? We are trying to find out what is the true price of we having gas out of our soil. In the north we have earthquakes. In the south we have people with lung diseases. We have to pay for that as well. There are environmental issues with it. So if you calculate as a SAI what's coming up in terms of euro and what we earn as the state of the Netherlands from the gas, natural gas, that's not the whole story. So how do we get into our minds the whole story and the true price? I think that's a challenge we all face, and I would like you to think about this within your young EuroSAI community, because it affects you in the next generation, what the true price and the true cost is. Secondly, as modern citizens, you probably do not trust your government, but you probably would like your government to come with a more made-to-measure fit. Society has become more individual, and government is reacting to it and having more individualistic approach to citizens. I know the Netherlands does. But that brings to us a new question. Governments over the last 30 years have been withdrawing themselves for many reasons. The cost to maintain society as a whole is getting more and more and more, but society in itself is changing, and so the government is reacting differently and is trying to respond in a more individualistic way. That brings to me to mind, how can you ask questions, when government is doing that and is bringing more individualistic products and more individualistic approaches to you, and is more a kind of a deal maker and bringing people together, how can you calculate the effectiveness and efficiency of what government is doing? How do you think about irregularities when that is the real issue? I don't have the answer, but I would like us to think about that. If government is changing in that way, what does it say about us and about our approach of cost effectiveness and efficiency? Things will be changing for us as well. And the third challenge we all have in our societies, in our country, is the demographic challenges and changes. And these are actually connecting to withdrawing government and puts questions on intergenerational solidarity as a cornerstone of our social systems. And most social systems are based on stable societies, where you know how big generation is, how you know how big groups are, and how you know it comes from one group to another. But if society is changing so rapidly, and demographic changes in your society are so basic and fundamental, what does it mean? What does it mean for all the arrangement within your government? And I think it's a task for us as SAIs to think about it and produce more evidence and more research about it. So that's the third challenge. A changing society and a changing way we work and a changing culture we have here it means also that we differ in the way we approach our work. We don't have no longer a long-term career perspective as in the past, working for 20, 30 years or longer within one organization. And in a way, this is not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. It gives you the opportunity to explore, experiment, and to change. You're no longer stuck in one career on one side, you're whole red or purple your whole life. You can change that. And and you can choose your own path. Because you studied in one direction doesn't mean you have to be in that direction for your whole life. For example, I studied general and comparative literature, and hey, look where it brought me. So you can change your career path, and this will change us, and this will change our organization. This is a good way. And the thing is a new work-life balance a sacrifice or a reward? That's a question. I think finally there's a generation that is not focusing on money alone. That's what we're seeing. It's about experiences. It's about what you do and not what you earn. And that is a non-monetary gain. You can only win by enjoying life. Working in what you like best and what you can do best at that moment in your life. And your institution can only win. Can only win with employees like that. I cherish that within my employees. Happy people are more creative people and are more productive. Then finally, I was very happy with the debate we just had. Very happy with it. About discussing the way we should end and conclude to an international conference like this. The papers for the conference says, what will make YES 2.0 successful? And it ended by F, conclusions and recommendations formulated by the conference participants. And you started a discussion about it. Let me give you a personal opinion about this. I've been working for about 20 years in government right now, and I've seen a lot of documents with long recommendations, very specific recommendations, reconsiderations, etc., etc., etc. To be honest, I can't remember one of them. I can't remember one of them and tell by heart what it said. Would you, having long been? Have you ever met a AG or a president of your organization coming back from an international conference and saying, hey, now I got this, 4 pages of recommendations, we are inspired, we're going to change tomorrow. I've never experienced it. So when you were discussing this, I thought, yes, you're right. You should do that. You should go to the core of what we do. If you want to work for the rest of your life in EuroSAI or somewhere else, and 4 pages of recommendation, if you want that, you should start now, right now. If you want to change that, if you think there's another approach, there's another way of bringing the message over, of inspiring your colleagues, of bringing your knowledge and what you learned back home, you start it right now. Otherwise, you're stuck with the old way, the old-fashioned way. Someone said, well, we need something to get home because of the color, the purple colored. Well, I'm one of the purple colored. Do you really bring that home for me? Well, if you ask me, if you do it for me, don't do it. But the question is, what do you want? How are you inspired? How are you a broker in your own organization? How will you bring back the energy that the Israeli EuroSAI brought into this conference back home? Because it's all about energy. The energy in this conference is much different than the energy I experienced in other conferences. Much different. Keep it that way. Please keep it that way. And be different. Dare to be different. Because you want the future to be different, you should start right now. Thank you very much.
Yes. The second Young EuroSAI Conference, Israel, November 2015. The Office of the State Comptroller and Ombudsman of Israel.